Thanks a million for joining me here today, and thanks to anybody who has joined us online. We're here today to talk about to celebrate World Mental Health Day, the 10th of October, and it's something we do every year. IRFU always marks the day because we believe physical health, and mental well-being go hand in hand. I'm delighted to be joined by three players because you bring the topic to life. We supply toolkits and posters and social media assets to the clubs, but everybody wants to hear how it is for an individual. And you guys are here today. You're all in rehabbing, so it's quite topical in terms of how you've coped and managed with your mental health. So we'll just have a chat about some of the issues for you. I might get you to do a quick intro and just tell us where you are. I might start with you, Beibhinn. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here today.
Hi, I'm Beibhinn Parsons. I'm, like you said, currently in rehab. I broke my leg, so I'm well on my way to getting back. I play with the 7th and the 15th, so hopefully I'll be back soon.
Great, looking forward to seeing you back out in the pitch. And yourself, Aaron?
Yeah, my name's Aaron O'Sullivan. I play in the men's sevens team. Like the two girls, I'm injured at the moment. I unfortunately did my ACL in Madrid, so just tipping away on that. Hopefully, get back as soon as possible. Yeah.
And just right before the Olympics, so we might come back and have a chat about that.
Yeah,
How you had managed to cope with all of that. Great.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a bad timing, anyways. But that's just the way it is sometimes, unfortunately.
The life of a sports professional.
I suppose, yeah. I suppose. Yeah.
And yourself, Natasja?
I'm Natasja Behan. I'm a 7s and 15s player, and like Aaron, I did my ACL recently. So yeah, just looking forward to getting back out there.
Great, and we're looking forward to seeing you there as well. It's been a great few weeks for women's rugby as well, so we'd love to see you back part of that. I guess one of the things that maybe to get the conversation going is certainly when I was playing and even when I was coaching, nobody really talked about mental health, and nobody really kind of, your physical robustness was all that was really the energy was put into. I'd like to think that that's changing a little bit, but yourself, Bevan, is that your experience? Is the topic changing, or how is it for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like as a team, we address it a lot and make sure that the levels of how everyone's doing and how everyone's feeling are always sort of topped up, and make sure that we really care for each other. I think right now we're in pre-season, so there's lots of like new faces and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's definitely an emphasis put on like making sure that they feel okay and welcome in this environment, because like it can be scary when you first come in and you're young. So yeah, it's definitely a topic that we talk about and make sure everyone's doing okay.
Good. And actually, that's one of the phrases we use is it's okay not to be okay, but are you doing okay? Having that conversation. And do you think, Aaron, I suppose people say maybe women do that better, males, is it a harder environment? Or do you think that's changing too?
I think there's definitely been a push, especially in the men's side of things, just to be able to talk and be open to, because like difficult conversations, people don't really, like they feel like they're maybe bringing the room down a little bit, but like especially in our team anyways, everyone's very tight and like everyone supports each other, and there definitely has been a big push, especially from coaches and then the RFU employing different resources for us to speak to some psychologists and things like that. So I personally use it myself, which is great. I found it's helped me a lot probably in the last 2 years. Just been injured for a long time now, so it's just kind of nice to kind of speak to people and not feel like you're bringing the room down, I suppose. But no, I've got a load of good close friends and teammates and stuff, so if I ever really have an issue, I can definitely bring it up to them. And
so you feel like your teammates are there, you have that connection?
100%, yeah.
Key things for people to be able to connect.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Would you say that kind of connection is there, Natasja, as well for kind of among your teammates and among the wider squad?
Yeah, 100%. Definitely in the past year anyway, we've come together very closely, and there's a big emphasis on like being there for each other. Like there might not, like we're always checking in on people, and like our culture is really, really good at the moment. So yeah.
What advice would you give to, say, people, Aaron mentioned the resources there, but what advice would you give to people, say, at club level? How can they get that culture going in their club?
I think like definitely as players, like checking in on just who the person is, like put aside the rugby, make sure you go in and you're going in every day and you're asking your teammates how you are, how like the week has been, and I think like coaches nowadays are better at checking in on their players, and they just need to keep that up and keep driving
Yeah.
that kind of positivity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creating that yeah. I think
Safe
that check-in
space,
thing,
like,
particularly
yeah.
probably younger players are maybe playing a couple of different sports, and it is important to check in and for coaches to know what their physical levels are at, but also asking, how are you today?
Yeah, like getting to know each other off the pitch is a big thing, and like
Yeah.
understanding how that person might work and how their brain ticks and stuff.
Yeah. Like doing team socials and things like that, just getting out of the building sometimes helps. 'Cause you can go for a few pints or something with someone, you get to know them pretty well. So, yeah, something like that I find helps me sometimes, just get outside, maybe go for a sauna or something, or go for a sea swim with a few of the lads and just chill out and get to know each other a bit better, I suppose.
And are they kind of things that you would have done as a younger player as well, Beibhinn?
I think like more and more I think because we're more centralised, lots of us live up in Dublin now, and like so more and more we're able to meet up in like little groups, go for things like that. One of our teammates, Christy, had us over for dinner last night.
Yeah, it was
She had 10 of us over. Whoever's left over and isn't in Canada, so a lot of us, it's like we counted up the room as like 80% rehabbers. But little things like that are just really nice, and you get to see a different side to people and see what makes them tick, and like how close you are off the field just makes you a better teammate and a better team.
Yeah, builds that resilience and stuff. Speaking of the rehab, you've all been through it. I suppose it's you're nearly through it there, but there would have been darker moments through that passage. How did you cope, and how was it for you?
Yeah, like I think with Aaron and Tash, like an ACL is a lot of a longer slog. So I think knowing that I could find loads of silver linings, like I straight away was like, well, at least this happened at the Olympics, not before. Like with Aaron, that was really tough.
Yeah.
And also Beibhinn as well, and Kate, like there's players that, had a really bad timing with their injuries. So I could look at that for a bit of positivity, and also that it's not something like an ACL like Aaron has.
I'm just the worst of the worst.
Right now?
Yeah, I'm just the worst of the worst.
So I just looked for a lot of silver linings with it, and just knowing that it won't be too long. And
Are they skills that you kind of developed as a player, or are they skills that somebody taught you to do, and how did you get to that stage?
I think there's loads of like players that have had really tough injuries or lots of adversities, and just seeing how they deal with it and like the grace that they have going through it is like quite inspiring. So just trying to channel a bit of that, I suppose, and knowing that it's actually not the end of the world. You'll get through it, and for me anyways, like it's a lot easier to do that because it's not as big of an injury and it's good timing. So obviously these two have it a lot tougher than me.
So
Yeah, no, I suppose the timing was terrible, but I think it's just trying to be resilient in times like that. I suppose like the game of sevens itself is so up and down, and like even in one day playing in a tournament, you can win twice, lose once, lose all three. You honestly never know what's going to happen. So I think when I did get injured, I think I just lent on my friends in the team, and they all supported me. Like two of my best mates in the team would probably be like Hugo and Zach Ward. Those guys definitely got around me, so that was great. But definitely been some adversity for sure. Just trying to. I think the worst part is just before you get operated, when you have an ACL injury, you have to wait like 3 or 4 weeks before you can, just to try and build up your quad before you get surgery. So that was probably the worst, because I knew the worst was still yet to come, and I was still waiting for so long. But as soon as you kind of get that surgery, and you can kind of see the weeks ticking down, even though it's a long time, but and then my physio, Ed Miaz, has been unbelievable. Like there's been so many times where I'm actually scared to come into the HPC because I'm like, I really do not want to do this today. So it's just like being consistent with it, understanding that it's difficult, and just trying to grow every day, I suppose, just try and get better and better. But yeah, like Beibhinn was saying, it's definitely a long injury, so I still have like 6 months to go. So it's just don't get ahead of myself, but just try and stay positive and take every day.
People and
exactly, Ed's been great. I can always have a bit of a laugh with him while we're doing our stuff until it's time to work, and then it's not so much of a laugh. But
well, and I think it's great to hear you saying that, because I suppose a lot of people we look at you and we look at your rugby and we see it in a physical kind of capacity and, you know, days of injuries and, you know, metrics maybe of getting stronger and that kind of thing. And it's nice to hear the human touch behind it of, I need to have a laugh. You know, there's other things I need to do. I need to check in with my friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm definitely probably a bit more of a joker, so I just like, I don't like things to be too serious, so just like, just have a bit of a laugh. But as soon as you need to do it properly, like that's when you don't have to be serious all the time. You can just be serious when you need to be, and then.
I think it's kind of like something you referenced earlier about, like, you need to know who the person is, and that's the person that you are.
Yeah.
That's how you're dealing with it. And has it been a similar journey for yourself, Natasja?
Yeah, I actually was quite positive going into mine. I kind of saw it as a blessing in disguise.
Tell us more about that.
I actually didn't get selected for this year's Six Nations. So I had a lot to like work on, and like that in itself was really hard for me to come through. So it actually kind of helped me now because I kind of got used to being on the sidelines. So now it's like easier going into this. But I have like a lot to work on off the pitch as well. So I was just like, right, this is my chance to get it right. And yeah, I've been struggling with like shoulder niggles and stuff. So I was like, right, this is my chance to get that right as well. And having Beibhinn and Aaron in as well has really helped because we're all kind of at the same timeline in the same boat. So it's nice to come in and you're just like, if you are having a bad day, like you'll be like, okay, well, he's getting on with it or Beibhinn's getting on with it. I may as well just get on with it myself.
It's really interesting to hear you saying that. Like, I saw it as a blessing in disguise because I'm sure loads of people around you were probably going, oh God, you know, this is terrible and stuff. Do you think that was something that you had built up as a skill over time, or do you think it was because of the people around you, or how do you think?
100%. Like Six Nations was probably
rough.
One of my darkest times. Like, so.
And what helped you then? Because you wouldn't know it listening to you now. So what helped you get through all that?
Definitely my friends. Like, I had a good support group. My parents, like, they would always like believe in me no matter what. So you kind of just need that one person to egg you on and be like, you know, you actually like have this in you, and like even one person believing in you can make you feel like you could do anything, even if 30 people don't believe in you.
That's lovely. Music to my ears to hear we talk about one good coach. We do a little piece of training with Jigsaw, the National Youth Agency for Mental Health, and you know, that's a living example of one good coach or one good adult and having that person. And do you guys have that kind of idea behind you? Somebody, it can be one or more than one person, but would you relate to that?
Sorry, do you mean like your parents and things like that?
Well, it can, you know, just that one person that's looking out for you. I suppose you mentioned earlier.
If I need to speak to, or I have anything serious or anything like that I'm really struggling, I can always go to like my parents, my mum, my dad. Yeah, they've been really, really good. Like, and I can be just myself with them, so I wouldn't really hide anything from my parents, to be honest. It's just they're probably the two people I would go to, and then I actually live in a house with 5 of the other guys, so if there's anything going on, they can kind of tell anyways. Like, if I'm just looking a bit low or just chilling in my room, I don't get much privacy in my in the house. So.
And do you check in with one another in that environment, or?
Yeah, no, we would. Like, we're always around each other, and like we all drive in together. So to be honest, there's one of the lads, Matt McDonald. I've seen him for the last 3 years, every single day of my life. So like we be very good friends. Yeah. So no, he's great, and like if you know him, he's the biggest joker of all time. So we get on very well. But yeah, like if there's anything serious, we can have just a sit down and just like talk it out over dinner or whatever. Yeah. It's just wouldn't be too serious, but like it's just nice to know that he's there. Like if you know what I mean. So.
I think it's good to hear you saying that as well, because maybe we think we need to be specialists if somebody wants to open up and have a chat with us, but sometimes it's just about starting that conversation. And you know, if it gets too serious, you can signpost. You mentioned experts that are there to support you guys, and there's experts that we can always signpost people to, but having the guts to start that conversation, and sometimes they're difficult, but actually having the guts to start that conversation. Would you find that? What's your experience of that?
Yeah, like what Aaron said, like my parents would, and my sister, like my family in general, would just be like my rock. And even when I broke my leg in Paris, like they trekked across to, you know, bring ice or bring food or whatever I needed. Like, so they're just sort of ride or die, and it's great having them in your corner. And even if they don't really understand like the ins and outs of, say, selection or timing or things like that, they try to understand, and I think that's what matters more than anything.
You both mentioned selection there, and I suppose that's probably one of the more difficult moments in terms of you need to be mentally resilient to be dealing with those moments. What other kind of moments, injury, selection, anything else that...
Well, there's loads of stuff that could go on like outside of rugby, and like of course you don't want to bring it in, but like sometimes you don't get a choice in the matter. Like, I've had teammates that have had really rough years, and they've just been so resilient. Like,
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that as well. Like, it's just sometimes when you just step in the door, you just have a breath of fresh air, and you can kind of get on with your day. Try and leave those things outside, and then if they do get too bad, you do have people here that you can speak to as well, which is great. So I think the hardest part is just making that first step, isn't it? Just saying, okay, I don't feel great here, I can go and speak to this lady, I should go and speak to this lady.
Yeah.
So it's just like, or man, whatever.
Yeah,
lady.
You have the guts to speak to somebody.
Yeah, exactly, sorry. But yeah, no, so I think the first step's the hardest, and then once you do, you can even check in weekly or monthly or whatever you need, so see how you go, really.
Would you guys make that a priority? Would you build that into your schedule just as much as you build in warm-up or
I definitely used
weights
it,
or...
probably not as much as that, because you do it we
Yeah.
probably do that every other day, or every day, but maybe like I'll probably try check in every month-ish or so, maybe every 4 weeks-ish. Yeah, just to kind of keep a baseline and just see how I'm getting on week by week, really, so that's wise, yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't even have to be like a big appointment or something. Like sometimes you could just say a passing comment. Like I could be like to Beibhinn. Like I kind of like to like joke about my stuff. So like I could just pass a comment to Beibhinn, and she would know that like maybe I'm not having the best day today, and then like even just saying that one line could just kind of like lift your spirits up a bit. Because you're like, oh, I got it off my chest. Like I might not have had this big conversation about it, but someone else knows, so I feel less alone. Like like you kind of understand how your teammates work. Like some might want to sit down and have that big conversation, have a bit of a cry, and then others might just like to just make a little joke about it, you know.
Like even after the girls did so well in Canada beating the Black Ferns, we all watched the game, and then we all sort of came into the gym the next day and we were sort of like testing the waters, because like I felt so happy for them, but also so sad that I wasn't involved. And then like I was sort of like, do you feel weird? And then everyone was sort of like, yeah, I feel a bit weird. And we're all sort of like had this bittersweet moment, and you sort of think, oh, I'm a horrible person for feeling this. But then when you know that everyone else is sort of feeling it as well, and it's sort of a tough watch, but also you're happy, and this mix of emotions, like when you know other people are feeling it too, you don't feel like you know, it's this big thing. It just seems like something you can laugh about then.
Well, it's also you're very much in touch with your emotions, so they're not going to get on top of you at any point. You know that you are dealing with the physical and the mental together. So nice to hear that. Just kind of a final question for each of you in terms of, you know, you've gone through this journey and you are where you are, and I've no doubt you've like years ahead of you as well. So advice to younger selves, like thinking of a darker moment and thinking of a really brilliant moment, and thinking where you are now, kind of an advice you'd give to a younger version of yourself, maybe when you were first playing youth rugby in your clubs.
I think like you can't compare yourself to others, like whether it's injury or how you're feeling. Like you just, like, I can't look at someone else and be like, oh, they're doing this better than me. Like you really just have to focus on yourself and like focus on what you're good at, and like there's no point in me looking at Beibhinn and being like, oh, she's way faster than me, she can step this many people, because I might be better at something else. And like it's the same with like mental health. Like you can't look at someone and be like, oh my god, they're having such a good day today, like that's making me feel so bad about myself. Like everybody goes up and down. Like we just need to focus on ourselves and just carry on.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think don't dwell on the small things. Like when you're a kid, or like in my experience, there was one time I was playing in England and I was playing for like my county team, and then next week I got dropped, and I thought it was the worst thing in the world. Like it was like,
very
oh my
common
God.
experience for
Yeah, so it's like it like don't dwell on those things. Like if you work hard and like you really enjoy it, like enjoyment's the key. Like if I remember I used to play for a small club back home, and they were literally all my best friends growing up, and that was the most enjoyable rugby I've ever played. It's just like when you're out there just with your mates having a laugh and like just really enjoying what you're doing. But I think don't dwell on small things, because like it's not your path. Like there's no path's perfect, so it's just making sure you can if you do veer off slightly, just work hard and then just get back on track where you want to go. So
Perfect.
yeah.
I'd be the same as both of them. Like, don't sweat the small stuff, and then try not to compare yourself, which is hard in here because you're all like trying to get selected, or you're trying to be back in time for something. So like comparison is like part of your day to day, but as much as you can, just like it's you versus you, as cliche as it sounds.
Yeah, nice cliche to end on, I think.
Thanks, Beibhinn.
Thanks, folks, for joining us,
It's our pleasure.
and thanks for your insights and your honesty. I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
you.
Thank you.